Hey everybody. Sorry this book club took a little longer than we expected to get out. We've been getting real sick over here, and just when we thought it was done, we got sick again. So a lot of our plans have kind of been put on delay. We were wanting a Trench Crusade video to come out on like the week of Christmas, but I don't think that's going to happen because we're just really busy this time of year. But anyway, it's out now. And thank you all for being so patient, and hope you enjoy the book club. Thank you, Peach Saliva, for coming on by. You are wonderful and lovely, and hope you guys enjoy. Sit back, relax, get some cocoa, and all right, I should mention before we start, we have new merch over on the Orchidate store. It's a bunch of Gay Wrath stuff, and you can also get a mug or a sticker of our little avatars that you can put on things. All the stickers are great and perfect, and you should get them because they're cute. We got more exciting merch on the way, and thank you all for supporting us. We hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and hope you are warm and with loved ones and friends, and that you have a wonderful time and a happy new year. We will see you all in the next one. Very, very excited. Bye-bye. Enjoy the audio.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to our very first book club.
Nerds.
I don't know if we're going to call this book skulls or anything, but this is super duper exciting. Welcome, welcome. My name is Ava, and joining me as always is my lovely significant other, Carrie.
It's me, guys.
And joining us today is our other partner, a very special Alex.
Hello.
Oh, he's here.
He is here. And today we have a super duper special guest, Paige.
Hello today. Hi.
Hello.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so
Yay.
excited to be here.
Welcome. Why don't you tell our audience some of the things that you do? What's up?
Oh God, what do? I played video games poorly on the internet. I talk about how much I love skeletons and ghouls in Fallout. I find them very attractive and interesting.
No. I see
Yay.
the vision.
Yeah, you see where I'm going. But yeah, I mean that's kind of all I do. Whatever. I'm here and there.
Fair enough. And how did you come across Warhammer?
So my husband, Pat, he has been trying to get me into Warhammer forever. And then I think I saw a Necron, I think Quiet Shy, kind of introduced me to them first. And I was like, And then later someone's like, you have to check out like Trazen and the Necrons. And I was like, okay. So I did kind of a deep dive on one of my shows, and I was like, oh shit, I'm really liking this a little too much. I'm so excited. And so I'm still very new. I'm still diving in to Necron lore. And that's why I'm so excited to have read this book, because I feel like it was a very gentle easing in to Necrons and everything to do with that. So it's been a great experience. I'm absolutely loving it.
And I just want to clarify that questions are very much encouraged as we go down this. So if
I don't know
we
what
get to
we
a point
just
where you're
read.
like, I don't know what word you just used, I don't know what that is, like, feel free to ask.
Oh, good. Thank
Alex and I know most of the stuff that goes on in 40k, so that's pretty handy.
Awesome.
I feel like I'm going to say
But
something
today-
like horrifically heretical and just get called out and be like, well, I guess I'm not a Warhammer nerd. Time for some
Tourist.
certificate.
Did you get one thing wrong? Ugh, fake fan. My
Clearly.
God. Today we are talking about The Infinite and the Divine by, oh God, what is the author?
Robert
I don't have
Rath.
it written down.
Robert
Rath.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mhm.
No. So
What a
we
cool
are
name.
talking about The Infinite and the Divine, the story featuring Trazen and Oregon, and it's great, and we love it. And just going into this for people who might not have read the book, full spoilers. So make sure you've read the book, or if you don't care, hopefully you can chill out, listen, be entertained, have this on while you're like drawing on your tablet or doing some work,
If you don't care, hopefully by the end of this video, you'll regret that you didn't.
you
True,
will
true,
care.
true.
Ha!
We will make
That's
you
us. He's a
care.
friend.
So, full spoilers, obviously. And yeah, just sit back and enjoy. Okay, so The Infinite and the Divine. We're going to have a general discussion to start out with, and we'll start with you, Paige, and then we'll kind of go down in this circle. How did you like the book?
Oh gosh. I thought it was wonderful. I in fact, I'm going over my notes right now, of which I took many, and then my tablet factory reset itself. So it's like,
Oh, no.
I was so bummed. I love these. I love Orkin. I love Trazyn. I love all of the characters. I loved so many of the scenes. The prose. Just the way the words go together. It was
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry. It's so beautiful. I'm trying to find a couple examples that I highlighted. I was so stunned. I did not think that a Warhammer book would be so beautiful, not only to read, but also to listen to. Highly recommend that audiobook, right?
Oh, yes.
Incredible.
With Richard Reed narrating it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, spectacular. I don't usually do audiobooks, but I kind of did like a Mickey sing-along thing where it's like, turn the page, and had it like read to me while I was simultaneously reading it. Ultimate experience. It was wonderful. Spectacular. I loved everything about it. I love these two old gay robots.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude, this book belongs in the LGBTQ section at Barnes and Noble. It needs to be highlighted during Pride Month. I'm not playing. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's great.
If it was not intentional that there's not like something going on there.
I mean, it's like the slowest burn that there ever was.
I wish I could talk to the author and just be like, did you know that you were doing this? Did you have any inkling?
Look,
I do wonder.
I'm gonna date myself hard here, and even if people don't want to go that far, this is definitely like Robert Rath must have watched fucking Grumpier Old Men or something before writing this, because it's just like two cantankerous motherfuckers that hate each other, and then at the end they're both like, but everybody else is even fucking stupider.
You're the smartest guy I know. And I mean,
I still hate you.
Who would I be without you?
Yeah, they really learned to appreciate each other. I mean, up until like kind of the epilogue, but that's pretty funny.
We'll talk about the epilogue.
The epilogue was a lot.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's go to Alex. How did you like the book? This is your first time reading?
First time reading Infinite and the Divine. I've read
way
too much.
Alex
I'm the only one here who's read it more than once.
Though.
Been doing Warhammer for almost ballpark of 20 years.
Damn.
God
okay. Damn. So you must have remembered Necrons like with their old lore too.
Oh,
because this book is like really new.
Yeah. Necron old lore
they
was
have
just
personalities.
Yeah, Necron old lore was like, I feel like they hinted that some of the higher ones had something going on a little more, but otherwise it was just complete, just like faceless horde going on, to the point that when I first got it started and I was like, young and dumb and barely wanted to read the rules, I was playing, my buddy had Necrons and I had some Space Marines, and I tried to use like a librarian psychic power that was like Mind Spike or something on him, and he tried to argue. He's like, no, you can't use that because that says it overwhelms their psyche, and he doesn't have one because he's just he's just an undead thing. I'm like,
okay,
what?
Interesting.
Yeah, no, it's I do quite like the newer lore in that there are like tiers to it where like some of the higher servants do have a little bit going on, but largely it's you still get that faceless, like a Necron warrior is just like fucking blank facade. But then you get like Trazyn and Orikin where it's just like, I am a fully fledged bitch.
You get to him talking to his like his construction workers going like, but where do I put my wine? And it's
yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, I love him.
Or like, where later on when they've got the space battle going on, he's kind of like, I'm running pure vibes. There are no notes here. This is just all a broken brain. Just like, later on it's in the space battle. He's kind of like, I could run the space battle like overwhelm my admiral, but they kind of have they kind of got some insight on this, so I'll just kind of let them vibe on their own. Just to the the differing levels of personality that are left in Necrons.
Yeah, I think the book does a really good job talking about the difference between that. And I think there's a really interesting conversation to have between when Trazen first mentions it. I think when he's talking to Sanet, his little assistant that has to write in order to remember things.
I love
And
Sanet.
I love him. Oh my God, he's
I
love
felt a
him so
kinship
much.
with Sanet.
I wish I had a Sanet.
So he's talking about Sanet, and he's like, oh, what his mind is all broken, and because the biotransference, it didn't work too well for him. But me, Trazen the Infinite, nothing is wrong with me. I'm perfectly fine. And I think that's so funny because they all have a little bit wrong with them, and I think it's just so funny because to contrast with that, you have Orican who just thinks he's better than everybody.
Yeah.
He's the best, and certainly
I mean,
he
to be
can
fair,
show it.
they all think that.
That's true. That is true. They all think they're the best, and they could never fall to something like the Flayer virus or have their memories altered through biotransference. No, because I'm the best. I'm
No, it is
just
society
so
that is
good.
wrong.
One Necron came through biotransference perfectly intact, and that's me.
me.
Thought
Oh,
every noble
me.
Necron ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just love how the characterization of the Necrons is, especially now, because as you said, they used to just be kind of mindless automatons, and that wasn't as fun.
In some ways, I did like it. Like I liked all the lore. I liked it in the sense of just like it was this implacable enemy. It's like you can, in some of the newer lore, like Trazen gets involved with imperial matters and whatnot. Like
Yes.
he during the fall of Cadia, like he's straight up there like helping them defend it. Inquisitor Greyfax is back because Trazen's just like, oh shit, there's some shit going on. I need someone to. Well, she hates chaos, so throw out my Pokeball. But there is something to be said for like the old lore where it's just like Necrons were just like, nope, if they're showing up, you're fucked in every way because you can't negotiate, you can't do anything. You don't even know why. They're just here and they've got gauze and you're dead.
I think part of that is still there in, as you said, the warriors don't have very much going on. They're pretty mindless. But I think a lot of the flayed ones with the Flayer virus and all that, I think that also is the vibe of this monster that doesn't feel anything. It's coming to get you, and it will. You don't exactly understand it.
I would argue. I mean, I would argue a little less so. I would say same thing, but more for the destroyers. And this is lore, I don't really remember if it was always the way, but like the destroyers are portrayed as just like, I'm here to destroy every atom of life.
Yeah, and we saw that in this book.
Are those the ones with no legs?
Yeah, they've got the tri-legs.
They're just like giant Zambonis of death.
So we saw the destroyers being used in this book. Orican used them to try to, at one point he wanted the Mysterios. Surprise. It's the main thing of the book. And even Trazen is like, oh my God, you brought the destroyers? Why? They're gonna destroy everything, every atom of this planet. They hate life in general. And then they'll just move on. And I thought that was just really interesting because Trazen would rather trap them in a time cube forever.
God, it's so hellish.
Oh my God, right?
Oh, it's so spooky.
It's very
and then
Black
he can
Mirror.
It's very Black Mirror. There's an animation that Games Workshop made where people post clips about it all the time where Trazen is interacting with these chaos guys, and these chaos guys are basically like angrily like, oh, you should free us. And he just laughs and is like, I'm not the one keeping you here. All you have to do is never enter this labyrinth. But every time you do, because the artifact in the middle of it is so valuable that you would rather live in this time loop forever and ever and ever than lose it to some other faction.
That feels very...
So all you have to do is
Yeah.
don't come in.
It feels very Saw. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's very
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
I want to play a game, Oracle.
Oh no.
That's really good.
Okay.
Sorry, no.
Every like 2 days, Ava has been sending me like a voice note of them just like recreating love scenes between Orkin and Trazyn, and I'm
and you
losing
didn't
my
send
mind.
them to me?
I'm
Well,
sorry.
I was overwhelmed.
That's amazing.
Oracle,
the
my
the
baby
comic
girl.
dubs that are gonna come out of this, I swear. No, Ava's just
Oh,
got
man.
it down.
So,
I'm a little
sorry, before we
jealous.
get too ahead of ourselves talking about these wonderful gay old men,
Oh,
Carrie,
hi there.
like Paige, this is your first Warhammer 40k novel.
It is. But not
How
my
did you
first
like the book?
40k.
Oh,
40k. I know a little bit about Warhammer. I've learned about it. There's this podcast. It helped me learn. Anyway, I really liked it. And I felt like I felt like you could take all the Warhammer jargon and like replace it with other words and like kind of give other context, and it would be a totally fine standalone story that somebody could understand. But I also
agree.
found that because I had a bit of background knowledge on the setting and some of the characters, it added a lot. Like there was
I
a
think
lot
the-
of like subtext that I was picking up on here or there.
I think the reason why this book gets passed around so much is exactly as you said. If you just replace some of the science mumbo jumbo, it could just be a sci-fi book about these two robots.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's just a good book.
It could just be happening in the Transformers universe, just as
Yes.
Sure.
easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. It was also, I was thinking about it as, because Ava, we've talked about this before, but you're a little bit newer to sci-fi as a genre.
In general, yeah.
Um,
It's not something I really grew up with.
yeah, whereas like I grew up with sci-fi, like my formative memories are watching Star Trek and stuff. So like I'm very used to stories about time travel.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of stories like I've experienced a lot of stories about immortal beings or things like that. So like as I was listening, I was like, there were so many moments that involved the passage of time in various ways, and I was just reflecting on the fact that it tells it even it's still like it still interested me. Like I think. It still told things in a way that was kind of refreshing and new, even
I
though
remember-
like this is a thing that gets kind of, there's a lot of time travel shenanigan wibbly wobblies out there, and it can
It's
all be
true.
kind of hard to follow. But I think something about it not just being like I think a flesh and blood creature, whether that be an alien or a human, but like, almost an object with sentience, kind of added
I
something
remember
refreshing
when
to that.
Orikin first started to try to recreate his astral form.
Yeah.
I remember we were together and we were listening to it. I remember in my peripheral vision, I saw you like sit up.
Oh,
Because you really started listening to like how his fingers were bending in impossible ways to you and I, because we're fleshy, we got bones.
Ugh, the flesh tuber.
And when he's describing how even if your finger or if the position of something is even the smallest increment off, then Orikin would have to roll back, try it again, because otherwise he would like blow up.
Yeah, because it was interesting because, and I don't know if it was intended, but like that actually makes sense in terms of dream science. Like,
Dream science.
well, dream science isn't like a real word, but like we know that like one of the things that like our brain has specific things that it has trouble with creating like if it's not in the right state. There are things that are very complicated that might not look complicated like just generally, but for instance, if you have a person who's going through mental deterioration, one of the first things, like easiest ways to tell, is suddenly they can't draw a clock.
Oh.
Or like
Interesting.
they can't draw a hand properly. Like, it's hard. Okay, nobody can draw a hand properly. That's like the ultimate drawing challenge. But like they can't, like, it's like they can't picture it in their mind. And that's something, so a lot of those things then coexist with, those are things that are tells if you're in a dream and you're trying to figure out if you're in a dream, look at your hand, look at a clock. Like if you obviously remember, usually it will look wrong if you're like kind of like if you're in that state where you're conscious enough to perceive that you're dreaming and you're trying to figure it out. There are those objects that will, like, it's so easy to go into uncanny valley with them, I suppose, that your brain can kind of get that knock to it that kind of goes, something's not right. So I could see that in some kind of form of meditation, taking you out of the meditation and making you have to redo it if it was some kind of complex magic. So that was a very psych-heavy way of me saying, like, it makes sense. The magic is cool.
Yeah. And, like, even when Orican isn't doing that kind of stuff, like, a lot of the magic that I'm using heavy air quotes there, is just math.
Yeah, it's just a big spreadsheet in his mind.
He's literally, like, doing equations while Trazen is talking about some shit that he doesn't care about. But I wanted to mention the passage of time because this is my fifth time reading the book. I love it so much. I, like, every couple months, I'm just like, man, I just want these two old robots to yearn after each other again, and I need it. I need
It's
my
divine,
comfort.
so you
I can't
want it
blame
to be
you.
infinite.
I just let them kiss.
Every
Come on,
time
baby.
somebody in the book said infinite, I was like, and the divine. Oh.
So I try to notice different things each time I listen to the book, and this time I really tried to pay attention to exactly that, the passage of time, because I remember the first couple times I read it, it was a little hard to keep up with, especially in the first half of the book, where they're jumping forward, like sometimes it's a year, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 40. And I remember having trouble keeping up with that. Did you guys have any trouble with keeping up with the timeline stuff?
Yes.
Particularly in the start of the book. Okay.
Yeah. This was kind of my first experience. Oh, no, not at all. This was just kind of my first experience of really understanding how time doesn't mean anything to these fuckers, Like
not a thing.
It's so interesting.
Yeah. Like you hear that in the lore and the videos that I've watched. I'm like, okay, yeah. But then it, like, really kind of experiencing it through this book, I was like, holy fucking shit. And I had to go back and kind of like reread a little bit to like get a better understanding. Yeah, that was wild.
Trazen talking to this old man, and while he's researching, and he's been researching and stroking his chin for so long that it's polished now, and he's talking to this assistant who's like, oh yeah, it's my last night, and Trazen's like, what? I just hired you, and he's like, it's been 80 years.
I love that scene.
That scene is so sad.
It's beautiful.
But also retains that, like, grim darkness because he's got the mind scarab inside his brain.
Yeah. But Trazen did put his kids through college, so.
No, it's fair. Like, it balances out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I'll go over here.
I really love that. I have this highlighted here. I love that. That servant actually asks him a question. He's like, after my years of long service, may I ask you a question? Trazen like considers it, and he's like, yeah, sure, you may. And then he's like, do you intend to destroy this world? And then he just delivers like,
oh my god, banger line.
I can't do worse than you've done.
Yeah.
I love seeing the Imperium through the eyes of other races
Mhm.
so much because they just don't pull any punches. They're just like, yo, you guys suck. And frankly, if you all died, the galaxy would be a better place. Now, granted, they think that about everything, but particularly the Imperium.
Yeah.
To be fair, the Eldar think it mostly because of the whole warp bullshit, and they may
That's
or
fair.
may not be wrong.
But
That's
also,
fair.
like, is that opinion wrong?
Not really.
Okay, to be fair though, doubling down on that. I mean, in some ways, even Rowboat thinks so.
Oh, yeah,
Canoe?
Gilliman.
Yeah,
Canoe's not happy where he is now.
Canoe is
For
wielding
context,
the
I
Imperium.
call Roberto Rabute Gilliman
Rabute
Canoe
Gilliman.
because I remembered his name because Rowboat, and then that
So
became
she just
Canoe one
exclaimed
day.
Canoe.
So yeah, that's how I remember who he is.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot. I need to make flashcards of all the Primarchs.
I also think the passage of time, the way that Robert Rath, he beautifully wrote it, especially with the scene that we're talking about with the assistant, but he also used it in really funny ways too,
Oh my
where
gosh.
like Trazen's offhandedly mentioning this creature that attacked Orican, and Orican turns on and he's like, so you did send that to kill me.
Yeah.
And then they share an hour-long pause, and Trazen's like, not technically 2-hour pause. Listen, if I wanted to kill you, I'd send more than one. Listen, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just fully just like, oh no, that was a prank. If I wanted to kill you, I have hundreds. Like I could have dropped a nuke on you, dude. That was just funny.
I think at one point there was a 3-year pause while someone was trying to find a word, and I was like, that's so me, though.
Totally relatable.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's so good. No, everything about this book is just so good. Oh my god. It's no wonder that Games Workshop themselves even recommend, like, they have a whole section on their like Black Library website. It's like where to start in 40k, and like this is one of the first books.
You just open that
Because-
and like scary opera music starts going. It's like boom, 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 boom.
So I have a note here of what did you not like about the book, but I don't want to bring down the mood because we're having a great time. We'll talk about that in a minute. I do want to ask for you guys, what did you think the book would be about? Paige, let's start with you.
Oh Jesus, what I thought it would be about?
Yes.
Well, I was informed. So I saw the people were like, "Hey, if you like the Necrons, you should read Infinite and Divine." And I was like, "Ooh, yeah, maybe." And then I saw the cover and I was like, "Ooh, this kind of reminds me of like Beast Wars a little bit, just like
Little bit, right?
And then I'm like, why are they gazing at each other with their mouths open like that? This is so like. And
It's
then I put on.
yearning.
Sorry?
It's yearning.
Yeah. And then I went on Twitter and I was like, yo, is this gay Yowie? Like, is this robot Yowie? And everyone's like, yes. And I was like, no. So I knew that there was going to be some like, and people told me that it was going to be like two petty old men. And I was like, okay, sold. So I knew that going in.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I did not expect time travel, which I guess I probably should have, but I didn't because I'm new to this. I don't know what I expected. I just knew that they both wanted something, and over
this
the
little
years,
gizmo.
yeah, it's a little something, and they were fighting over it, and that's all I knew. And so I tried to go in totally clean. But yeah, I really had no other expectations. Everyone kept me pretty spoiler free, which I super appreciated.
Yeah. That's kind of a problem with the Warhammer community in general, is that there are some people that
Yeah.
believe that you can't really spoil Warhammer, which I aggressively disagree with. But no,
Yeah.
that's really good that nobody really spoils you on
Yeah, I was
anything.
surprised.
Would you say that your expectations were met?
Oh, exceeded.
Oh, excellent.
Exceeded. I was expecting
Excellent.
like, oh yeah, this will be a fun little romp. But I was just riveted. Like my notes have scribbles in them. I like
Excellent.
exclamation points and question marks, and it was a blast to read. I had so much fun.
Carrie,
Hi.
what did you expect going into this?
Who knows? I think
You've heard me ramble about
I've heard
this
you
book
ramble.
for like
Okay, so okay.
months.
I feel like Necrons are an exception in Warhammer in that a lot of what you hear when you go on the internet and you're like, Warhammer, let me engage with that. A lot of what you come to is memes. And if you're
True.
looking at memes of like, look, it's the Emperor, and then he like does a funny like football yeet of his kids into space, and everybody's like, chuckle, that's so funny. But like, you see that, and that's not what happened in the story. It's a funny representation of events that is, absurd and exaggerated. But what I learned is that the Necrons are the memes.
Yeah, they just do
All
silly
the
shit
funny
because they
jokes
can die.
you said happened in the story, and I kept being like, "Oh, there it is!"
What an excellent writing technique too, because these characters can die and like be reanimated because they're made of like metal that reshapes and whatever. You can just have them die in the most Looney Tunes ass way.
It's
and then they just come back and they're like, I don't want to do that again.
I finally got to the part where he says box seats to a coup. And it was like hearing, like, Luke, I am your father for the first time. I know that's not the quote, but like I was like, there it is! Oh my gosh! I'm a Warhammer now. I did it.
You are the Warhammer.
I did it. I won. Yeah. So I guess I wasn't expecting it to be as like cartoonishly, comically,
going so fast that we
absurdly
ram
funny.
into a brontosaurus.
Yeah.
And it explodes.
Yeah. Like it felt self-aware. Much more so than other Warhammer books do. And like that's a good thing for both of those different genres. I think. But like it was a fun time. It felt a little Whedon-ish, I believe is the term, kind of like a Joss Whedon. Like it gave me like Firefly, Buffy humor a little bit in the terms of like everybody's getting along even though they don't like each other and doing these absurd tasks. But like there's a lot of funny interpersonal comedy.
Kind of like off dry, still dark, but not fully dry, just not quite.
Yeah,
Looney Tunesy.
like kind of Deadpool-y humor where they're just like, oh, this is happening.
They're kind of quirky with it.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed that. It was very refreshing. And I think that made it approachable as like a first Warhammer.
And I think that's so great because where you have that, you also have like the start of the story where Orican is wrecking Trazen's museum and the fight stops and Trazen just like begging him like, just please go back.
Oh.
So that
I hate it when they fight.
Yes. It's so sad.
I want to tell them it's okay.
And then shove their heads and make a clink sound, you know?
That'd be more like fucking tolling of bells.
So, Alex, what did you expect going into this? Because I just kind of like ambushed you one day and I was like, read this now.
I honestly didn't know what to expect exactly. I'd heard of the book. I'd heard it having a very good reception. I hadn't actually looked at it. So other than memes of how they were just idiot buddy copying across the universe and just a couple comics, I didn't look into any of it. Which was good. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, it was definitely interesting. Seeing all the time skipping. I wouldn't say it confused, just jumping back to that. It didn't really confuse me. I don't know. It almost did. Like I kind of just rolled with it. It's like, okay, I don't know when the hell we are, but we're forward in time. Cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Carry on.
I think in time travel media where you're not expected exactly to keep up with where you're at. Like at every given scene,
Listen, this is the fastest Necron court we've ever had. It's only been 12 years.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So
But I was
I
also
think
meaning, like-
letting that go in your mind
Mhm.
and not trying to be too technical with it will allow you sometimes to
Yeah,
enjoy
I
the
think
stories more.
My trouble when I first read this a couple times was I was trying to keep track of like how long has been, how like where are we?
Right.
And later on you just like Alex said, you just gotta kind of roll with it. Like, okay, we jumped.
Yeah, and in some ways it doesn't entirely matter because you know you don't need the friggin' star date to know exactly what's happening. And
Right.
and he does kind of Robert Rath does pepper it in, just like, okay, cool, you've got a full Exodite Dinotopia going on here. Okay, and now there's some primogenitor humans here, and while there's some big lizards, there's nothing left. It's like, okay, cool, we've done a big time skip, but cool, whatever. I do have one question I do want to ask the group at large because I had feelings
For sure.
on this, and it's
Oh,
an
no,
interesting
not
take for people who are coming into the hobby. How often did you feel you were reading things and being like, "Oh, that I know exactly where this is going. Like, I know exactly what's being foreshadowed." And if you want, I can give the exact example I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
would you
maybe
mind
an
giving an example?
So Trazen plays his prank where he throws down the little the Gene Stealer Primus
Oh yeah,
to fuck with Oregon. And before that, they've been talking about, oh, well, for whatever reason, the Imperium's going to exterminatus this place. And I was like, oh my God, I know exactly what this is. You fucking let a Gene Stealer out on a human planet. They're exterminatusing because it's going to uprise as a Gene Stealer cult. Like,
So the first time I read this, I was not all that familiar with like every single faction. So I connected the dots like when the reveal happened, but upon first reading, like I was just like, oh, it's just a funny creature.
I think this is what I was talking about when I was saying you can get you can totally read this book as somebody new to Warhammer and get a lot out of it. But when you know a lot about Warhammer, it's also an elevated experience.
yeah.
Because you're gonna get more of those things.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I first played through Space Marine 2, I'm gonna say a Space Marine 2 spoiler, so if you want to skip it, skip forward 20 seconds. I got 20 seconds. Okay, so when you're doing the Cadia, and they're all Cadians, and you know they're Cadians, but Cadians have purple eyes, and suddenly they don't have purple eyes anymore, and that's how you know that they're secretly not Cadians. Okay, this is now, we're out of the spoilers. Everybody was talking about how that was such a cool detail, and I hadn't noticed it, so I was like, oh. I wish I that's cool. That's cool that little detail's there. And now I know that for when I go back and replay the game. But it's like those are the kind of little things that can really immerse you or like kind of let you figure out the puzzle or something, which is rewarding when you're going through a story. So
Yeah, absolutely. And like
Yeah.
I fully love it. And I completely agree that like you don't need to know these things to be doing it all because it does give you that, surprise and the interest of holy shit, that's where this is going later on. But it's also
Is
just fun to be.
Warhammer the perfect encapsulation of if you know, you know?
it might be.
Is that what it is?
Because I think I know and then I don't know.
Same.
And everyone knows I don't know. But I know.
Yeah.
I have. Oh, sorry.
Oh
go
no,
ahead.
I just I'm still so new and fresh that I could not quite guess things like that. But I'm also really naive, and when I read these things, I just kind of I'm like, oh, what's gonna happen next? And I just turn that part of my brain off. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just, again, I've been into Warhammer for so long that like, to me, it just felt so glaringly like obvious. And I'm just
Totally.
like, oh my God. Like, do you just want to fucking scribble across every page, Gene Stealer cult? Like, how is, and I'm just like, it can't be that obvious. It's just me being a fucking nerd. Just the
It's a little
deepest Warhammer nerd.
It's a little like when you go to a movie and like part of the movie is in a different language and your friend speaks that language and they keep giggling and you're like, what?
Oh yeah.
What's the joke? I don't.
Oh, if you know, you know.
Yeah, and like, sometimes let you in it. But it's like there is another layer here that you can potentially understand if you choose to go down learning that language. But it's also enjoyable as a medium and might even be designed in mind for people who aren't familiar with that medium. It's like how when you watch kids' movies as an adult, you're like, whoa, these jokes are kind of okay. I don't know. I think it's interesting what different people can get out of a thing. Because, like I would probably pick up more little things if we sat down and watched like a magical girl anime because I'm really into those. And so like I know that, oh, so-and-so is going to turn to the dark side because she got something. Like those little things that are like tropes, I suppose. Just based on the genres that we would all interact with.
That makes sense. I have a double-parted question.
Oh.
Out of the two, do you like Trazen or Orican more?
Ooh.
And the next part of the question, or I guess the part before that could be like, who's your favorite character? Who was your favorite character in the whole book? And if it was neither of them, you can say your character. Yeah. Who did you like? Paige, let's start with you.
Oh, shit. That's tricky. I think I like Trazen the best. I love Orican
He's
so much.
Sassy.
I really felt what's interesting to me is they have this interesting I guess dichotomy is the word where like Orican kind of tends to look forward and has such respect for the future, and Trazen has so much more respect for and more interest in the past. And so in like who do I feel a kinship with? I guess I feel more like Trazen in that respect. And I just think he's just bitchier, which I'm always like, like I like you.
Gas queen.
And I don't know. It's so tricky. I also really loved the tech sorceress Vishani.
Oh,
Vishani.
Cool.
So I have questions about Vishani.
Yes.
In a bit.
oh.
No, Traz is just he's such a bitch.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He knows how to
Where would I
read a
put
bitch,
my wine,
too.
librarian?
You do not drink wine, my lord. Of course I don't.
Oh.
It's far too expensive.
He's right.
I love that Orican totally meets him where he's at as well. Like Orican in his own right. But I just loved that that aspect of Trazen.
When they meet on the moon and Orican's talking about how the orcs are going to come and invade, and Trazen just air quotes and say, "Was it one of your meditations?"
Yeah. Jesus.
Oh, it came to me in a dream.
Sauce, Orican?
Oh,
Dream.
no.
Alex, who was your favorite out of the two? Or did you have a different favorite character?
I mean, definitely out of the two, Trazen. I think I agree with a lot of those points. I would say Trazen's also more, almost in a weird way, like a little more live and let live. Because I feel
He's kind of more laid back. No, I agree.
Well, there's like one interaction, which I can't remember exactly where it is, but it feels like, as Paige said, that it's like, oh, one's focused on the past and one's focused on the future. And it feels like Orican is very much just being like, no, my way is the way. Like, this is what you need to focus on. And like, this is my thing. And Trazen's like, yeah, everybody's got to have a thing. Like, my thing, I love my museum and all this shit. And Orican's like, no, my thing is the thing. Like, you're dumb for not being into that.
I think a good example of that is Trazen the Infinite watched the puppet show and was getting so invested. And he's like, look, this is so interesting. And Orican's like, I don't fucking care.
I mean, to be fair,
shit to do.
To be fair, that also kind of like led him into wait a fucking second. Where's my book? Give me the book. I read this somewhere. I would also say that, I grew up watching, very westernized animes. So, I watched a lot of Pokemon, and you gotta love the Pokemon Master.
Gotta love Master.
Mr. Pokeball himself, Trazen the Infinite.
I hope you brought an army, my dear colleague. I brought 5.
Beautiful.
Oh, that was such a good moment.
Dude, there's so much, just extended lore where he does shit like that. Like, it's bonkers. It's just great.
Carrie,
Yeah.
favorite of the duo or
Okay.
other favorite character?
I feel like saying my out loud is gonna sound depressing because I feel like I relate more to Orican, but
Very
I
fair.
like Trazen more.
Totally.
No, that's fair.
Yeah,
I relate to Orican, and I hate myself. So Trazen.
Oh.
I'm very kidding.
No. I think Trazen's a sassy bitch, and I aspire to be a bitch, right? So I was giggling along the whole time, but every time Orican was on my mind screen, I was like, oh, it's me though. He's having a panic attack. And I'm like, look, it's me fiddling around with the laws of time and space.
Very relatable, honestly.
Yeah. I would
I
be
think-
there's so much pressure.
the difference where, as Paige said, Trazen's all about the past, Orican's all about the future. And I don't know if the author intended this, but upon rereading the book, the first time I read it, I was like, man, Orican's kind of mean. Trazen's pretty nice. He's funny. But upon rereading the book, knowing what happens
Mm-hmm.
in the future makes me relate and see Orican's point of view more. And I would love to ask the author, was that intentional? If you know what's coming, you kind of go no, Orican's right here.
Wait, what's coming? Is this the Silent King?
Well, no. Just the events of the story.
Oh, I understand. Sorry,
I
I thought
mean,
If Trazen gets this, he'll do that, and that's bad.
right.
It must be really frustrating to be able to see aspects of the future and be able to change parts of the future and then having to be forced to live in the present with people who are just
Yes.
man, I love the past. And it's like, Jesus Christ, come on.
We could be so much more. We could be
Yeah.
weird light beings.
Yeah.
It's
That must be
it's
so
it's
frustrating.
it's a character type actually. I just had a brain blast. What's her name? In Troy, the guy's wife, who's the psychic, Catherine.
An oracle?
Cassandra?
Wait, sir.
Cassandra.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, a Cassandra character where her whole curse is that she can see the future but she can't change it.
Oh, I thought her curse
Right?
was she can see the future, but no one will ever believe
No one
her.
believes her. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she can't change it because she can't influence anyone. Yeah.
I mean, that is what happened with Orican with biotransference.
Exactly.
He was like, this is exactly what will
Yep.
happen. And everybody was like, whatever. Uh-oh.
So sad.
See, but
I no
that's
longer have lungs.
Ugh.
kind of a point I'd like to
You never have to
counter
shave again.
almost.
Oh.
Is did he see it? Because one thing that they do seem to be putting forward in it a lot is that they all seem to have the same memory of exactly
Mhm.
being transferred. Of I held out, and then I was taken in
Mhm.
chains.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Yeah.
and they're definitely pushing the whole, the deceiver set that up. So I think part of that was hoping that they would never rebel against the Satan because they'd all be like, I
Yeah.
can't trust these other motherfuckers. Every single
No,
one
that
of them
was
threw me into
always-
the
This
forge.
is when the boss tells you don't talk about your salary with anybody else.
An-
It's manipulation.
Another interesting point is it feels like it's so incredibly powerful. There's almost like a point where they both go where they both almost get it being like, wait, you remember that? I remember that. Wait a second.
You got it wrong.
And then,
I was the one Yeah.
It just feels like it was so powerful that like even when like two of the most powerful Necron ever like almost get there, it still like worms its way back, and then by the end they're still both like, motherfucker.
It's like almost down to their bones, so to speak, that they will never be able to unify. And that's just so tragic. Oh my God. I love it.
It's like an aversion. And we know that like that's possible. Like at one point when Trazen is about to look at something that would have like damaged him because it would have been really traumatic, his system like blocks it out. And he like knows that it has happened. So I wonder if it's a similar process that's happening that's like denying them to figure it out because like they don't, like some kind of virus or something in their programming essentially is it's a firewall. They can't get past it.
Another book written by a different author, Nate Crowley, who these came out very close to one another.
These people have cool names.
He wrote the Twice Dead King series, which very much goes into this idea of the main character has this sort of problem that we're talking about where sometimes he, is just on the ground and there's a lot of dust in the air and he instinctively moves his hand to wipe it from his eyes, which leads into a panic attack that just starts spiraling into, I don't have eyes, I can't blink, I need to breathe, I don't have lungs, oh my God, oh no. And that book just, I love it. It's also that series goes very much into the tragedy of the Necrons, where when you don't really have the benefit of these hobbies that Trazen or Orkin or these ambitions, these goals, what really happens to them. And it's really sad because they just kind of start to forget themselves. It's really, really tragic. Twice Dead King is a great book. I can't recommend it enough. Start with Ruin, not with Rain. That part's confusing. Talk to me about Vishani. What did you think about Vishani? What was going on with Vishani?
Well,
Carrie,
can I interject for 1 second?
Yes, for sure.
Ava,
Who's
your favorite character and why?
Oh, my favorite character. I like them both a lot. Sorry, that's a very centrist
You can't
answer.
weasel out of this.
Boring. Start again.
Okay. Oh no.
We're looking at you.
Oh no.
I
We're
can
watching.
see my little icon looking at Asterian's looking at you. He's very confused why you haven't spoken yet.
My first read through the book, I loved Trazen. I was a diehard Trazen fan, but I think after reading it so many times, I think Orikin's chapters are really, really fun because of the whole. He's the best chronomancer ever. He just knows what he's doing, and the fact that he can reverse time just effortlessly is so cool. Like the entire court scene is just so perfect because we should pick this judge. Well, that didn't work well. Well, we should pick this other judge. Rewind to the point where the tile on Trazen's hip is burning and he's like, that's weird.
It's like one of my favorite ways for time travel to be used in stories, when it's just like used in little ways, not like big, let's go back and get rid of this like military something, but like I'm gonna like cheat on this test, or I'm gonna answer that guy wrong, or I'm gonna like totally say something cool back to that bully that one time, or like not how I don't know, it's something that's just so funny to me, and it was done very well, and it was very interesting to see it from the perspective of not the person doing it at times.
Yeah, when it was Trazen going like
what's going on
weird,
here?
I remember that wasn't the person who was talking.
I feel like that one did throw me off the first time, because doesn't he just like the chapters just like you do the court scene and then it finishes and then you start the court scene again. You're
Yes.
like, wait.
Yeah.
And it's a different person
Which-
talking.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, as a person with ADHD and dyslexia, I just assumed I was wrong. And I just gaslit myself into thinking that it wasn't. And I was just like, no, you're just wrong. Just do it better, Carrie. Read better, Carrie.
No.
Guess I fucked up. Carry on.
Oh, it was terrible.
No, the court scene is just so,
It's a good
so
scene.
excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get them back and they're just like, yo, we know you did that shit. What the hell? Why?
Want funny box?
The worst thing we could punish you two with is forcing you to spend time together.
Here's your
I
get
So-
along
loved-
shirt.
I loved when they were court ordered to have a timeout.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Oh
what was
my
it, like
gosh.
2,000 years?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
like,
something
do not
crazy.
talk to each other apart from the appointed supervised meetings.
God.
I was just, it was so funny.
Go to your corners
It's
now.
so funny because, like, we're talking about these, like, to us, practically demigods.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And their society is run like parents controlling children who are just left to run around the restaurant.
They're so
Yeah.
petty and I love it.
It's so funny.
Yo, can we talk about, speaking of demigods, you've reminded me, can we talk about Robert Rath? What was going through your head when you had that moment where the Mechanicus guy was talking to Orican? Well, he was fighting Orican, and Orican was like, you think us gods? On your knees. Like, what was going through your mind, sir? Sir? Calm down.
Listen.
Calm
Bit of a dry
down.
spell. What?
Whoa. Oh.
Robbie, please.
Robbie, please.
Rob
more.
me of my senses
I want more.
is what's happening.
So, real quick, I just want to say, back to Vashani really quick.
Oh,
Yeah,
Um,
Vashani.
Sorry, I'm looking, I believe it's chapter, I think it's either I think it's Act 3. Act 3, Chapter 5.
I know where you're going.
Okay, so our bisexual king, Orican, he is about to, like, I'm telling you, this scene between him and Vashani is so, and forgive me that, like, I come on here and I'm like, let's talk about sex, but like this is sexual.
No, welcome.
No, we're open. We're open. Don't
Okay, good.
worry.
I was like,
sex.
holy moly.
No, they're fucking.
Yeah, okay, good. Because like it's talking about how like he and it like he's
I've never
talking,
done this before.
Yeah,
It
he's
was
talking
like-
I am ready. And
It was
like,
like
the,
they were-
the opening, do
I've
not be
never
afraid.
opened
It's
myself.
like,
Oh my god.
yeah. I was like, ooh, pulling at my collar a little bit. I was like, should I be reading this?
It was like we were back in
can't read this
Berserk at the
outside.
waterfall.
Robbie, calm down.
It was very sweet and loving and gentle, and it was like, oh.
Yeah, it was really sweet actually.
And that made the later bit so much more devastating.
Yeah.
So let's
Oh.
let's mention that.
I don't
Again,
wanna.
Full spoilers, but extra spoilers if you haven't. Vashani, Orican got catfished.
Mhm.
Oh.
Orican, my baby boy, my bisexual king, he got catfished by the devil.
Mhm. Mhm. Deceived, if you will.
Oh no! Like when he sees the head, and then like fucking the deceiver gets freed, and then the fucking head activates, and then he goes, "Orican, run!" No! Oh my god!
Oh, my heart.
I cried.
broke.
I was like so upset when he was just begging Trazen not to
Yeah.
open.
Oh my god!
His fingers are all fucked up and he's been digging
He's
for
burnt.
technically hundreds of years, but because he's been going back in time to dig through all that rubble,
Oh my god!
it's been, I think it says in the
Thousands.
text like it's been like thousands for him.
Oh my god!
But he's just begging. He'll do anything for Trazen not to open that up. And
Oh
it's
my
just
god! It's so.
beautiful scene.
Mhm. Powerful, very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And then after like everything is said and done, like there's Orican ate the deceiver, which crazy to
So
think about.
cool.
Crazy that he did that.
Little
He ate the
snack.
devil.
No.
Just a little snack.
This is how
And-
Jujutsu Kaisen starts.
And then like there's just that scene where Trazen finds him and he's like, Orican, are you okay? And
Oh.
Orican's like, don't touch me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be touched. Don't. And I'm like, oh my God. And Trazen just like slowly like comforts him. Oh my, I cry every time
Yeah.
I get to that part.
Yeah, that was a
Oh my-
really
it's-
tender scene.
It's just so gentle and just, it makes the epilogue suck so hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I feel like the epilogue is really important for the Necrons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I was a little hurt, like in an geez kind of way. But after some reflection, I was like, the more things change, the more they stay the same for these guys.
Yes.
This is nothing for them.
I think it's just a bit of whiplash
Mhm.
because I love these two and I love when they work together so much. So
Yeah.
when it's like, okay, we're doing a treaty, we're gonna work together, it's gonna be great. And the very next sentence is like, so that was bullshit, that's broken, whatever.
yeah, it
like-
kind of gave, it was all a dream.
Yeah.
So to establish some things.
Mhm.
The epilogue. So let's talk about our general feelings with the epilogue. I personally like you, Paige. I understand it and it makes sense,
Mhm.
but from a personal place, it hurts.
Yeah,
And it hurts a lot. Carrie, Alex, what did you two feel about the epilogue in general?
It felt totally logical.
Okay.
It was just like, oh, okay.
Alex.
Uh,
How did you feel about the epilogue emotionally? I was crying. I was slamming my fist on the floor.
oh, the it should have been me gif.
It should have been me.
Yeah, no, I'm drawing a bit of a blank on exact details, but like, I think I mostly agree. Like, it makes sense.
Ava, would you
Mhm.
give us a little refresh?
So the treaty is established that the treaty that Orican and Trazen had was broken.
Mhm.
Trazen went back to the planet many, many times,
Yeah.
and so did Orican.
Mm.
And then it's revealed that Trazen has the Deceiver just in his fucking museum, and he talks to it and feeds it and asks it questions, which is so horrifying to think about. And then the book ends with, honestly, a banger of a question. He goes, yo, the warp. How do I get into it?
Yeah.
What?
It felt a little bit like when you watch an entire season of a reality TV show about that like centers on like a relationship between a couple and the guy's cheated on the girl and they spend the whole time being like, it's okay, we can trust each other again. And then after like the end of the last episode, there's a little like bit of text that comes up and it's like he cheated on her 3 weeks later and they broke
Jesus
up.
Christ.
Like it was like, what was the point?
I mean, like,
Looking-
not exactly unexpected behavior from Trazen. And
No.
I
No,
want
no,
to
no.
say, I
Like,
feel like
he-
I've read or heard something. Doesn't Solemnus, isn't it already powered by a shard of something?
I'm
I-
not sure about that. I'd have to look that up.
I feel like I read that there is lore that he already has a shard, but I
That
might
might
be making
be-
that up.
I mean, yeah, that might be just like
Might be
from,
fan fiction.
from the, well, no, I was gonna say from
that I
this.
picked up.
I thought
there's-
Solemnus was just like they use the Satan like friggin' triple or double A's, so I thought he already slapped a couple in there. This one was just different because he's kind of keeping it there so he can be like, hey, so
I will keep you as a little pet and feed you little treats.
I will put you in this
I'll
Tamagotchi
give you little
I have.
kisses.
I would say definitely one of the stupider things he's done. Like it's not unexpected, but like, having his galleries is one thing, but like interacting
What
with
if
this
you
thing.
trapped-
How do I go there?
What if you trapped a Catan in the me-verse with all your me's?
Oh no!
your
So-
it would go insane.
So Ava, this one might blow your mind because I was listening to this little podcast, Space Marine, don't know who they are, Astartes Anonymous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, those
and
ones.
they dropped one. And I followed their advice because they're always like, the number of times you hear something and it's just somebody's just made it up and you've just already started spreading it. So I straight up looked it up. There is canonically an Inquisitor who has her own Tesseract vault.
What?
Because she broke onto Solemnis
Okay.
and got out and left Trazen some friggin' catachans who'd come with her. They didn't get out, so he got them. And so he later on sends her a letter and is just like, hey, thanks for that. I needed them for an exhibit. By the way, here's a fun little, basically Rubik's Cube for you to take a look at. And it's a Tesseract vault.
Jesus.
That she gets pulled into.
Oh, no.
Oh, of course.
What is this?
And
Is
gets
this a book
herself
too?
out.
Yeah, I
These
gotta
are
know about
excerpts.
This girl.
These are actually excerpts from past codexes. So the army books from
Oh.
Warhammer.
Yes.
And
So it's
it's
like
really
little
cool because it's
blurbs.
actually different quotes from different books. So there's a couple
That's
quotes
cool.
from it's Grey Knight's 5th edition and Necron's 5th edition. So in the Necron's one, Trazen sends her this letter with a Tesseract vault. And they don't exactly say she gets
By
sucked into
Moogle
it, but
mail?
it's a fucking Tesseract vault. And then in the Grey Knights one later, I guess, there's an excerpt where she writes him back and says, thank you. This little device is quite interesting. I shall be using it. And in her data
Oh,
sheet later on,
shit.
she has a Tesseract vault that she
Oh,
can use.
shit.
So she gets sucked in and somehow gets
That's
out
so cool.
and is like, well, this is my Pokeball now.
Wait,
That's
I gotta
so
know
cool.
about this bitch. This is,
I can post her in the
yeah, post her up.
Discord.
I gotta know.
Yeah, for sure.
I got a
But yeah,
hyperfixation for later.
Oh, that hair, though.
Oh, wait,
She's
whoa,
awesome.
Queen. Wait.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh my goodness. She's like,
rocking it,
she's
though.
given Transylvania.
Yeah.
I mean, she is an Inquisitor.
Is she
So,
a sister of battle? I don't understand.
no, Inquisitor.
Inquisitor.
Different
They
thing.
just, yeah.
I thought those were space marines. They're not.
Different thing. Don't
Okay.
worry about it.
Moving on.
We'll talk about it some other time. Hey, there were a lot of enemies in this book. We
That's
had
true.
Eldari Exodites with the dinosaurs, basically
Mhm.
wood elves in space that ride dinosaurs that have lasers on them. Why Games Workshop doesn't have models for those? They would be printing money. No idea.
Give us more dinos.
We had the orcs, which took up, frankly, a large portion of the book. I feel whenever I reread the orc sections, I always get kind of like, okay, well, move on, please. We had other Necrons fighting each other. We had the Deceiver. And we had Gene Stealers. What enemy was the most interesting to you? Paige, let's start with you.
Oh, I really liked the very beginning, actually. I actually quite enjoyed the first chapter. If you want to give this book a try, just dive into that first chapter.
Mhm.
It's beautifully written,
Agreed.
et cetera, et cetera. But I loved how I really liked the Eldari priestess who was able to telepathically link with Trazen and essentially tell him what was going to happen at the end of the book. And it was like,
It's so good.
blew my mind. I thought that was so cool. But of course, I mean, you gotta love the fucking orcs. Like, there's a reason they had
They're so fun.
yeah, there's a reason they had so many pages devoted to the orcs. That was super. What a fun time. I loved that battle. And I just really loved that, we got to experience all these different fights and battles and stuff. And then that ends up being the armies that are used later.
Best reveal in the entire book is
Yeah.
oh my god, the fact that it switches perspectives.
Yeah.
And like, oh my god. It's one of the rare times we actually get to see a Gene Stealer / Tyrannid in general perspective
Mhm.
where it's just like, I am hunting. I need to kill, and whatever's in front of me, it's gonna die.
Mhm.
And like, that's just so interesting from this like alien. It's so cool. And the orcs just want to have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Get some good crumping.
I loved all the imagery of just Trazen and Orican staring in disbelief as these orcs are just like piling out of
The ships in
the
space.
ship into space and like
Like a clown
throwing
car.
missiles and stuff. And they're just like, what are they even doing? And like Trazen will just be like, they're just having fun. I don't know.
They're doing their thing.
They do this all the time.
Trazen gets on like the missile and he sees the console and it's just paint.
Yeah.
It's not
Like,
real.
what the fuck?
Oh.
See, that's another one of those like the tiers of how like where you come into this book from, being like a long-term fan or just like somebody new. Like that's great comedy, but it's also just like, to me it says Robert Rath has been a Warhammer fan for a long time.
Mhm.
Because I'm sure I've told Carrie this, and Ava, you've got to know this. Paige, I don't know about you, but there was old lore that they have since countered or
Mhm.
like decanonized, that orcs are all just a tiny, tiny bit psychic. They can't, like, none of them can, like, except for a few, like, orc psychers, which are called weird boys. They can't do
Yeah,
anything.
they're weird boys.
Yeah.
It's like weird Barbie.
But
They got weird brains.
when you get enough orcs together, it increases on itself. And they basically create a gestalt psychic field. So when you get enough orcs together, they can
Shit starts becoming weird.
yeah. So and
Looney Tunes
a lot
logic.
of it just comes down to air quotes faith, in that if they believe it'll happen,
Right.
it'll be fine. Which is why like there's a lot of jokes about like somebody finds an orc gun and they're like, it's a tube with a trigger.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah.
bullets, but they were literally just shooting me with it. Or ones, or like in this book where it's like, do they breathe?
They have lungs.
Yeah, they
Yes.
don't. And it's like it's a throwback to, at least to me, I see it as a throwback to them just being like, they believe they'll breathe, so they'll breathe.
They're just not thinking about it.
They believe that paint on a fucking piece of sheet metal controls the vehicle, so it does.
They are
Yup.
manifesting the life they want.
It's like
true.
it's very like it's very the Mask. Like if they think it's fun
Yes.
or funny, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, why not? So
Mhm.
cool.
Jim Carrey as every orc.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That would be terrible.
BRB is starting a Kickstarter.
Yeah,
Oh
right.
man.
Jim Carrey and Mike Myers. Go.
Ooh.
I thought the Gene Stealer parts were really interesting, specifically because like not even the Necrons realized what was going on.
Mm.
And like everything about the theater scene is just so awesome because
Mhm.
that's when you get the interaction where they're talking about like, wait, biotransference was, you remember that? Well, I remember this. Well, let's talk about it later. And then Orican, like Trazen's so engrossed in what's going on in the play that Orican is the one who notices like pop, pop,
Mm.
pop.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Uh-oh. I loved that so much, specifically because of the line, "You stupid bastard."
Yeah.
You got us box seats.
We
to a
all
coup."
had the image during that scene of them as the guys from Sesame
Muppets.
Street.
Statler and
Muppets.
Waldorf. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Sitting there being like, oh, ha, ha.
Like
I was like,
it's such a
just
funny
them.
image. It's such a funny image because you have those two next to like this catatonic couple who originally owned the box.
Mhm.
Covered in mind scarabs or whatever the hell. It's
Yeah,
so funny.
they're just completely catatonic.
I love
just, oh man.
I really
It's
thought
also
this
interesting-
animated as a kid's show.
right.
Oh my god. I would say it's also interesting in that like the gene stealer, the whole gene stealer threat is something completely foreign to them. Like they understand gene stealers and Tyranids because they've kind of faced them, but they're so uninvolved with biological processes that they don't know that the MO for a gene stealer is to walk in, plant some eggs, wait 100 years, and then be in charge. So they're just
Yep.
like,
That's what men
they're
do.
literally seeing just mutated gene stealer cultists, and they'd be like, oh, that's just probably some skin condition, and every once in a while humans got a third arm.
Oh,
It's
they
like,
got
no
a
big
third
deal,
arm,
whatever.
it's
It's like,
fine.
oh, and then they get to that, get closer to the end, they're like, oh, I see, okay.
It also was really cool seeing, specifically with the gene stealers, because like you also see as the time progresses, there is that little street show that by the time the Gene Stealers are about to take over, it's like the biggest, craziest, most anticipated play that's ever happened on this planet.
Yeah.
And there's just so much cool stuff happening in the background that when you reread it again, or when you like listen back or think back to those moments, it's all so tightly connected, and like how everything results, everything comes from and is part of the song of the planet, and it's all this signal, and just Robert Rath, good shit,
Yeah.
good job.
Yeah, he ties everything together so beautifully. It's really seriously impressive writing.
Mm-hmm. People are gonna get mad at us if we don't talk about the mural.
Oh.
The stained glass mural
Yeah.
of the Silver Skulls Space Marine chapter heroically saving the day from the orcs. Yes, of course.
Yep.
And fucking Orican going like, no. No.
Yes.
And then later on they come out of the pit and they're talking about something, and Trazen stops talking. He goes, someone has smashed my mural. And Orican's like, oh weird. Someone must have thought it was ugly. Strange.
It's so crazy.
See, that's
That's
another flip
so
one where it was just like,
crazy.
yeah, it was another foreshadowing thing to me, sort of. I'm just like, that's clearly where your fucking prank just bailed out hard. This-
Yes.
And just like a microcosm of the whole thing where it's like, you did this, you fucking moron. This is your fault.
Well, Orakan, do you have a statue?
Yeah. Oh man. Do you have one? Oh my god.
Oh
He's so catty.
my god. Just kiss already. Get it over with. Oh my
Mhm.
god.
Seriously. Like there's enough not to say like you
the
can't have tender
tension
moments.
I could cut through with a knife.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's
Aw.
so many like these tender moments. It's like, come on, just smooth. Let's go.
So, going off of that idea, I
Mhm.
have some fun questions here. Pick Trazen or Orican
Uh-oh.
and plan the perfect date. You are going on a date with them.
Oh my god.
So plan the perfect date. Paige, let's start with you.
Oh, easy. We would go, me and Trazen, we would go to a super old bookstore, an antique bookstore, and we would find the book that we think the other would like the best, and then we
Oh my
would
God.
trade our books, and then we would
Oh
just
my
read
God.
next to each other.
Oh my god.
Isn't
Aww.
that cute?
That's
That's
cute.
so cute. Oh my god.
That's actually what I did used to. I did used to do that when I went on dates and stuff. Yeah,
Oh,
that
that's
was
sweet.
that was like my in. I'd be like, let's go to a bookstore and
Oh
sit
my
on
They're
these
God.
big
either gonna
comfy.
love it or hate it.
Yeah, and if they don't
Then
like
we
it, well,
know.
that tells me something too. Like we wouldn't be
Yeah.
compatible, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would totally set something up like that because he's not gonna want to like eat or drink, right?
No,
he's gonna
I
want to
was
like read
thinking
some shit
that.
probably, right?
Yeah. Download some info.
Right?
Alex. Pick Trazen or Orican, plan the perfect date.
Oh god. I don't know. Like, obviously, if I was going to ask one of them out, it would be Trazen. But then I just end up having a fucking anxiety attack. I'm like, I don't know that I can take you anywhere that will even remotely interest you. Oh my god. And if I do take you to a museum, how much is left after you leave?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh man.
I'm just like, just take them to the museum, and all of a sudden the fucking woolly mammoth is
Oh
gone.
shit.
This creature, it intrigues me.
But then again, on the flip side, it's like, oh, I've seen like 1,200 of them. I've got all of them.
Oh, fair. Yeah.
That's where they went. Oh.
Right?
Oh my god, when he's talking about the Horus heresy and he's like, I have so many space marines. I have backups of the backups. It's absurd.
Crazy.
Yeah, there were a lot of bodies rolling around there. A few thousand disappearing would not be.
My brother went missing on the battlefield the other day. We have no idea where he went. Carrie,
Yeah.
pick Trazen or Orican.
Okay.
plan the
I'm gonna
perfect
take
date.
Orican.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna take him to a really cool museum somewhere. very, very cool that has a lot of like really interesting history and like, well, like maybe like a school museum, because like somewhere that also has like philosophy and interesting things to learn about. Somewhere that I would try to pick something he was interested in and like pursuing. And then hopefully I would be able to surprise him with maybe having like an expert at the museum or the institution like set up to have lunch. Not like lunch with, but like ask a question about anything he had questions about. And then we could learn about a thing together. And then we would go to a nice area with a really pretty view of the sky. And I would have planned it to where
She's
there's
really
gonna
thought of
be there's gonna be an some kind of space event that only happens every so many years. So it's kind of rare. Like
Halley's Comet.
Like
or
Halley's
something.
Comet, or like a star shower, or some kind of eclipse or something. Not that kind of eclipse. Well, and then we're gonna watch it as many times as we want to.
Oh,
Okay, that's really cute.
Right?
That's beautiful.
I just want to take
Can-
Traz into a movie.
That would be kind of fun.
Which
He would just be
movie?
pogging. Oh shit!
You gotta take him to like a
Take
history
him to see
drama, and he'll
Wicked.
be like,
Oh my god!
defying gravity. Oh
Can
my
I,
god, Trazin is gonna be popular. You're gonna be.
He would just be pogging at the screen the entire time.
Right.
Collected.
Alternatively, he watches
collected.
Wicked and he's like, "Was that real?"
Yeah. Yeah. So when
That's
in
not
time
even
did
how
that
it
happen?
happened.
When did that
No,
happen
it
on
was-
this planet?
What year?
Yeah.
No, it would be something so much more fucked up. He'd just be like watching and be like, that pink one is a very, very amazing singer. And you'd just be like, oh, that's a cool offhand comment. And then like a month later, it would be, the world still wonders where Ariana Grande has disappeared.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You'd be like, wait a second.
Or he'd just be like, this was right before the Crusades.
Oh yes,
Can I change my answer to a comedy one instead, actually?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, I would take Orican out and I'd be like, I just want to support you in your interests. And then I'd take them and just yeet them into the Hadron Collider.
No!
What? You kill my
Don't be
boy?
mean to him.
Don't bully him.
Orkin's my
you want to
baby
be
girl. He can do
or
no
an
wrong.
energy being? Here you go.
Oh, I need
Orkin, my
I need
little
to
baby
commission
girl.
somebody to animate Orican's astral form, like high-fiving and then doing some kind of TikTok dance with Lord Croak's astral form up in heaven.
Conspiracy theory, one and the same.
Oh
Oh,
no.
that would be crazy anyway.
If there was another book with Traz and Orkin adventures,
Mhm.
let's say it's still by Robbie. It honestly, if there's any Traz and adventures ever again, it should be Robert Rath
Yeah.
doing it
Yeah,
because he just gets it.
he's got it.
He's got it.
I mean, I feel like I want to agree with that point, but also just like sometimes it's fun to roll the dice. Like sometimes you get something equally as beautiful or better when it can change hands. But also at the same time, I have been burned before where it's like, why did they let this person touch it?
Yeah.
Why?
A new author is always kind of like not scary, but
It's a big roll of the dice. You never know if
Mhm.
you're gonna crit and which way it's gonna go.
I feel like that is something that is a little newer to me in fandoms is getting into the aspect of having like a lot of different individual contributors on the same project. Like
Mhm.
I'm a big weeb. I watch a lot of anime and stuff. So like I know the manga artist and I know like the studio that makes the anime, and like that's who I held responsible, or that's who I hold responsible. But like it's like I used to read a lot of Star Wars books, so I have experienced this kind of thing before, but it's quite like Warhammer itself is like such a big expansive thing that it is interesting to have so many, cooks in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree because like there could be some book written by, some other author and it's not even remotely about Necrons and Trazin could just show up
Yeah.
because he can.
Yeah.
I feel like it should be a meme. He should get like a little cameo. He should be like the Stan Lee.
Oh, there
Yeah.
are moments where like a space marine is recounting some crusade or something they were doing, and they're like, I saw this hooded figure over by the way, surrounded by these alien guards, and they looked robotic, and I only saw
He
them for a
took your
second, and it was so strange.
I mean, he kind of does that a lot during the fall of Cadia. He's just like popping in and out all around.
Yeah. So the question I was asking though was, if there was a sequel to this book, what do you think would be a cool thing to see? Like, what would you want a sequel to this? What would you want it to look like? Carrie, let's start with you.
Can I-
Like, are you talking just
Okay.
like a moment, or like the plot, or
Like overall, like what's something that you would like to see in the sequel? They could be like, oh, I would like them to fight this. I think that would be really interesting. It could be like, well, I hope that this moment happens. I hope the plot is like this. Just something in general that you would want out of a sequel to The Infinite and the Divine.
I have a funny answer, but I also have a
Yes.
question.
Okay.
My funny answer is they make it work in universe that they figure out how to make female space marines. And now that's canon. But to clarify, when we leave off in this book, where are we in the timeline with everything else?
Modern 40k?
semi-modern.
So
Even
like,
in
a
the
few
overall lore of
Primarchs are
40K.
around. Like, I'm just trying to figure out what the board looks like in order to come up with what a sequel might be.
I mean, I'd largely say it'd probably be in like the current universe.
Emps is on a
setting.
chair.
Emp's on a
Yeah.
chair. There's
Okay,
two
we're on the
Primarchs
chair.
rolling around, 2 Loyalists rolling around, 3, 4.
There's a couple of them.
Yeah, the universe is cut in half. Nobody knows what year it is.
Are Trazins. I almost called all Necrons Trazins. Necrons, they can like commune with psychers, right? Like it's not that they're warp sensitive, but they can like lock into the signals, right?
I don't think so. I think
No, I
part
don't think
part of the
so.
whole Necron thing is that they are very anti-warp.
Yeah.
So
like
would they
all
not
their stuff is,
necessarily
as you
be
said, like
affected?
math.
Okay. I think I'd be interested in them maybe going. I'd be interested in the two of them figuring out what's the thing you told me about, Ava? The Tyrannid spire.
Right.
Oh yeah.
High Fleet Tiamat has this giant flesh spire just somewhere, and it just keeps pulsing.
I
And
hate that descriptor.
whenever it pulses, it just kills psychers outright. Very strange.
and the
Don't know
pulses are
what's
getting
up with
bigger
that.
and stronger.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, they could be like, man, it would suck if like all life in the galaxy died. That'd be boring. Oh, this thing is probably dangerous and it's like nothing else can go to it, so we have to figure it out.
Okay.
Or something like that.
That's cool.
And then it would be pretty easy to swarm them with bugs. We've all been swarmed by bugs at this point, having played a little Space Marine. Jeez. Or, whatever. But, like, that's just a scenario that comes to mind in universe that would work in that timeline. But I don't know.
Okay.
I think anything where they work together. Or just, like, give me the nice, like, epilogue of them in their cabin that they've bought together.
Yeah.
And they're setting up the Christmas tree or something.
Cottage core
Yes.
Necron.
Yes!
Yes.
Let me visit them in Animal Crossing, please!
Paige, what would you like to see in a sequel to this novel?
Oh, goodness. I love that there is some time travel capabilities, so that lends you some flexibility. But what's rolling around in my brain is, Carrie, I think you mentioned Star Trek a couple times. And that reminded me of the holodeck. And I was like,
Yes.
is there a holodeck equivalent sort of thing in 40K, or could one be sort of created so that they could maybe Trazen and Orican could kind of explore some
Oh my
fictional
God.
scenarios, like,
Oh my
Sherlock
God.
Holmesy sort of situation. You know
Oh
what I'm
my
saying?
God.
Oh,
Like
we
You're
need
a
film
genius.
noir Necrons.
Right, where they have to like solve a mystery, or they
Oh, I
have to
love
whatever to
this.
get out, or some aspect like that. I think would be super fun.
Oh my God.
Right, because
Okay,
there's so many possibilities. It could be a story that we know, like Robin Hood situation, or it could be the story of some mythos from some other planet. I think that would be super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that you lied before to your date answer, and you just take them both out to a murder mystery night.
I mean, yeah, you got me. Yes.
What if they plugged in an old game into the holodeck and it was Total War?
Ooh.
And then it turns out that Warhammer Fantasy actually just exists in this computer.
Oh shit.
Oh no.
That would solve
Okay,
it.
okay, hear me out.
Oh my god, it's
And,
Sword Art Online.
This is another Space Marine spoiler alert. So for the next 30 seconds, if you don't want spoilers on that, skip ahead. You get one or both of them playing Space Marine. And Paige, do you want me to stop actually?
Oh no,
Realize this
please.
now. No? Okay. You get them both playing Space Marine, and then you get to the part where you go under the crust and you're going through there. And they're just playing and they're enjoying the game up until that point, and then one of them goes, "Wait the fucking second! That's my goddamn bedroom! What are you doing there?"
No.
Okay,
Oh,
and
no.
spoiler done.
I'm just imagining Orican and Trazen arguing who is Sherlock and who's Watson.
Yeah.
And they
Oh,
keep
no.
stealing the outfit.
And then they go in and they don't realize they accidentally put in like the modern Sherlock.
Oh yeah.
something.
Oh.
And then it's like-
with Cumberbatch. Oh,
Yeah. And
That's
then it's like
funny.
the crazy gay implications are just increased and everything's weird and they don't know why they feel like that. And
Oh my god.
off the charts. It's over 9,000.
I
Oh,
saw your
no.
pupils dilate.
Alex.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to see in a potential sequel to this book?
The two things that are popping to me are just going straight off the epilogue, the implications of Trazen getting into the warp, given that they are very anti-warp beings, and Blackstone in general is a Necron thing, and it hinders the warp,
Mhm.
which ties into all the extended lore as to why the galaxy's torn in half right now. So seeing what the fuck he wants to do in there, other than probably just
agree.
pokeballing a million demons. Guys, look at my new exhibit. It's Slanesh.
Oh, no.
Entirely.
Oh
The
my
entirety
gosh.
of Slanesh. Right there.
It's like
the-
in Breath or Tears of the Kingdom when you can take pictures of Ganondorf and get the guy to make statues of him, and you're like, I'll put him here.
The other one is, I don't know, I like, if it could be done well, I think it would be interesting seeing the implications if, especially since I'm just staring at part of an article as well right now, like Zarek, but interacting with him slightly,
Oh,
but
the
also
Silent King?
Oh.
slightly. My main idea is the implications of them actually finding a way to reverse the them being
Oh.
thrown into metal bodies, like, because obviously Orican is more like, we should go to the next tier, and Trazen's a little more like, we could be human, we could be people again.
We'll be human again.
Exactly.
We'll be human again.
Especially in, a galaxy in its own way that's kind of tearing itself apart, and the Necrons are powerful, but they're not the top dog. So the implications of being like, well, we could be ourselves again, but also there's some huge drawbacks to that right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that could be a very, very interesting thing.
No, that
I
is
want Games
interesting.
Workshop to just bite the bullet and make the next one the first Warhammer 40k romance novel. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just make a BL anime.
Well, they've got Warhammer Mystery, they've got Warhammer Horror.
We need Warhammer
Warhammer
romance.
smut.
Now.
It doesn't even have to be smut. Just like
We
No,
need
no, it
has to be-
pulsating
Let them love each
It has to be
members.
full.
it's
Pulsating flesh spires.
Whoa.
Because you said pulsating flesh spires earlier.
I
and I
did
was like,
say
hey.
that. Hey.
What that Necromundus do?
Oh my
Necrodermis.
goodness.
What that Necrodermis?
Hey,
do?
girl, what that Necrodermis do?
Oh my god.
Carrie
See
laughed
now
so
now I
hard,
have to
she's
go look at
going
AO3
over the
stuff.
mug.
No.
What? So no.
Is it good?
Page.
Yeah.
I don't have any at the top of my head that I can recommend, but
Uh-huh.
I know there's a lot.
Excellent.
Wait, which?
And there's gotta be one in there that's just good.
Ooh. I can't wait.
There's gotta be at least one. If you find one, please send it to
I
me.
will. I will.
Thank you. Question.
Hmm.
Did this book at any point after, maybe during, make you have the urge of like, yo, it wouldn't be so bad getting like a Necron model, maybe an Orokin, maybe a Trazyn, maybe some warriors.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I could start collecting some Necrons.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Duh.
The propaganda worked.
It's true.
It's
It
working.
worked.
It's definitely working.
You know what's also really nice about Necrons is that they are incredibly easy to paint.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're
can be.
really easy. They can be like the
Any of them, anything can be, but I've seen some shit, man.
No, I think
I've looked
like
at creators that just make you.
Oh, yeah.
just feel hate towards.
but I think
yourself.
for like people who might be listening to this and feel the same way, like, oh, I want to get some Necrons or something. Like a lot of the tutorials, the entry point is so beginner friendly, and like Alex is saying, the sky is the limit when it comes to painting Necrons. Like you can go as crazy or as simple as you want.
Awesome.
Like
I
I've
mean-
got some Necron models that are completely white and they've got like little like black metal in between their bits, and like, you know, painting white's a bit of a challenge, but you know, I'm learning.
I want to say
Uh,
you're probably a little bit biased towards the Necrons. I think there are obviously some incredible models where it's like, god damn, like that's a project. But like for most models, you know, it's as much as as much or as little as you want. Like
I agree.
you can go, you know, never feel like you can't get something that you want.
No, I totally agree.
And realize that it's going to be a journey of your painting. And man, sometimes just washes will just make it just that little bit. So many times I painted a model with like 3-4 colors and be like, it's like not quite there, and you just throw like Null Oil or some shit over it, and all of a sudden you're like, damn, that's done.
That
brings
shit's
it all
magic,
back.
isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I bought flayed ones and I'm gonna bedazzle them.
Yes.
That's the plan.
The Slade
The
ones.
Slade
baby.
ones.
It's
That said, I
happening.
found a gold paint that I don't need to do anything to. It is fucking perfect.
We saw a video
Awesome.
of a guy who just gold plated his guys.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, okay, cute though. Put it on a
Yeah.
necklace.
completely electroplated. the
Wait, I
mini.
kind of
That's
want to make
insane.
little earrings. Wait, that'd be cute. Like little
That's so
get
cute.
little
Yeah.
wait, get little space marines and like
Oh, that'd be
silver
so
plated.
cute.
Oh wait, okay, don't no stealsies, copyright my idea.
So I guess we can just kind of go into like a general, like, if anybody has anything that they want to talk about in particular about the book.
Oh, I have a thought.
What's up?
I was curious if anybody had any moments where they were like, oh, that's dark, or like that's kind of disturbing. Like things that maybe you weren't
Oh.
expecting, or like things got a little more like upsetting than
Mm-hmm.
you maybe had anticipated in a book about robots kind of thing. Because I know,
think anything with mind shackle scarabs really ekes me out.
yeah, we
Yeah.
love a node on the brain.
Like the description of them having to like press the brain, like it
Ugh, yeah,
ekes me. I don't like it.
yeah. I just know that like when I first started reading, the moment that I like really kind of honed in and was like, oh, was the first time Trazyn like just takes another person's body.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'll just use this. And you're like, what happened to that guy?
So what's nice about that, actually, I can make that a little more tame, is that because Necrons can reanimate,
Mhm.
when they like, let's say Necron steps on a landmine, kabloo, right? Kablooey, gone.
A big
Their consciousness, or whatever amount of consciousness that might be, goes back to their home world or wherever they reanimate from.
Reconstruction engine.
Yeah, and they'll be reconstructed there. So when Trazen does that, he's basically kicking them out and sending them back home.
Basically, think of it like this. Every Necron almost always has a generalized respawn timer. And it can be long or short depending on their power level. But Trazen is just being like, I don't want to do that, so you take my respawn timer. I'm going to just use your body.
And a lot of times that he does it, it's either to avoid death, and overall, it's because he wants to save time. He doesn't have time to reanimate and then come back to the world.
I feel like doesn't...
it's efficient.
Don't they kind of touch on that at some point? Like Oricon's like, oh, I could die here, but man, then I have to wait like 100 years before I'm back or something. Yeah. Or is it somebody else that does that in the book at some point? And you're just like, oh, that's why Trazen's just like hopping around. He's like, I don't want to do this.
And you're like prioritized based on your rank. And it's like the hellish, terrible, grimdark future aspect of it is that it's also like on a subscription model, because when they're getting threatened with being sentenced with these crimes, they're like, we'll turn off your respawn.
Yep.
Oof.
It's like government controlled whether or not you get to like keep living.
When they go into the tomb, it's such a big deal that the respawn is shut off, because this is as final as it gets. All the Necrons who died there, they died permanently.
Yeah.
That was one thing I wasn't sure about. Like they definitely threw that down, but I'm like, shouldn't they just have a dude walking around with like a USB drive being like, okay, you dropped, I'll just download
your soul.
Like sure, we can't just respawn you right now, but we'll take that flash drive back, we'll plug it back into Solemnis, and you're all coming back. Sure, it's gonna take like 100 extra years. Whatever.
That is kind of what Trazen did though, when they went down and he was putting down those pylons. That's how he got out so fast.
It's grabbing the gene seed.
What?
It's like grabbing the gene seed.
Grab him by the gene seed.
No, not like that.
Oh my goodness.
I think for me, one of the darker parts for me was, well, I guess it's more sad, but dark when they discuss, when they're at the opera house and Trazen and Orkin are having just like a chit chat, and they're just like, if you could go back, would you?
Yeah.
If you could go back to be would you go back to being Necrontyr? And they have this conversation, and I it didn't quite set in with me how like the Necrontyr were like riddled with cancer. My God, and it's like that's such a dark, sad existence, and so it's like like no wonder they took that deal so eagerly. To be immortal. I mean, at what cost? But yeah, no, and that just kind of, that conversation really hit me, and I was just like, wow, that's so tragic.
The Twice-Dead King has some descriptions. There's a flashback or two of the Flesh Times, and there are a couple descriptions of what people look like when they're like about to go from the tumors, and like it's bad. It is like their throat is swollen with how many tumors there are. They can barely breathe.
Because it's their son, right?
Yeah, their son is like so incredible. Like it shoots down so much radiation that like it kind of just became part of like their race, really. Like even when they became spacefaring, like they never were able to escape it.
Wow.
It's just so tragic. It's one of those things that I really do love about 40k, where there's quite a few characters or factions where you did not have a fair life. It just wasn't fair. And that's how you can get some people who, even if like a character has like, blown up 4 quintillion worlds and like they're all populated, blah, blah, blah. You still have people online who are like, not kind of justified though. Because like, obviously like that is bad, but look at where they came from.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like part of a bigger draw to Warhammer for me in general. It's just like, it's all gray, man. Like, gray or less. Like there's nobody you can point at and be like, oh, they're a good guy. No, you're a good guy because you saved 4 planets by blowing up 2 other ones full of people. But You saved some lives.
You did it.
And then, of course, going into, pure baby gnashing evil.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now we should probably discuss about removing Ava from the channel, right? You're like, I'm just cameoing,
I have the
but Paige, you're
password.
hopping in, right?
Yeah.
And Ava's out.
Wait, what?
That's the master plan. We're
That's
taking
it. It's me now.
This is the flip. Yeah. So after this one,
a
we're just
new
gonna remove
page.
Ava.
Oh!
I'm in. I'm having so much fun, you guys. Thank you so much for
I'm
having me. I'm having a
glad.
blast.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Like
This was
I'm
super
like
exciting.
kind of weirdly shy, and I don't usually do
No!
podcasty things or anything
Yeah.
anymore. So I'm really excited to be
Aw.
here.
Oh, we're so glad that you're here. I know Ava's been watching you guys for quite a while.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's very funny. I've been enjoying learning about all of the stories and stuff since Ava and I started dating.
Oh yeah.
So it's been kind of a funny, it's always
Yeah.
funny to
There's
go
a
down those-
lot of just embarrassing things. I'm sure you're now probably aware of if Ava's been
Yeah.
watching us for a long time.
No, yeah, but it's very fun. It's very wholesome.
Oh, good.
But yeah, when I think it was one of our patrons was like talking about how you had talked about Infinite of the Divine. And then I went and watched your stream and you were like, "Oh, book club. I should do a book club." And I was like, "We're doing a book club." Oh my god.
The brain blast.
And it
That is
was
so
like, oh!
serendipitous. Oh my god.
I should say yes to the universe more often.
Well, thank you for saying yes and taking a chance on me. Oh my goodness.
Thank you for being
thank you for
very
saying
sweet
yes.
and
Yeah.
wonderful.
No, I'm having like a fucking ball. I love book clubs and
Great.
shit. So I'm like
Yay.
It's
so
so fun,
in.
right? I was so nervous because I was like, I don't know how to do a book
No,
club.
you're doing great. These are great questions. This shit's
Well,
awesome.
Thank you. Are there any other like general questions or discussions that you wanted to really highlight in this book? Was there like a particular moment or character you wanted to focus on?
I can think of one that
Okay.
and I'm gonna phrase it first as a question because it happened and I just didn't question it. I just was like, maybe I just missed that part. So at the end, my dear friend, I brought 5 armies.
Right.
And he throws out his one Pokeball, and it's all the wow, I'm just completely blanking on the planet's name, but it's the Imperial Guard Serenade. It's the Serenade's Imperial Guard regiment that have been training, and he throws them down. And so the first part of this is, did they ever actually say he picks them up? Because I don't remember there being a part where he's like, "Oh, I throw out a Tesseract Vault and I yoink that regiment of troops." That doesn't happen, right?
There is an end of a chapter at one point where it is implied that he does it, but it's not outright like shown.
Okay.
It's because it's like right before he throws it or something.
Okay. Because yeah, as I said, in my head, I didn't remember exactly reading that part. So to me, that was a beautiful point in that just like this pure air quotes archaeological kleptomania that they don't even need to it doesn't even actually put it in there. Just, you know what? He's just running along at some point, throws a Tesseract Vault, and he's like, "Ooh, that'd be great for the collection."
That's how you
don't address it at all. It's so ingrained in Trezin that he's just like, "I'm doing this always."
And like going back to what Paige was saying about the Eldari Exodites, where he throws out the Exodites and the Farseer looks back at him and is like, "I told you this would happen."
Oh.
It's so good.
Awesome.
It's
That was so
such a
perfectly
payoff.
seamless. It was great.
That's how you get reticulated pythons in Florida.
You throw a Tesseract Vault.
I thought that was a
leaving your
hurricane,
armies
although-
and various animals on
No.
planets. That's
Um,
got to mess with the ecosystem.
No, it's such a great moment, and it's such a highlight that I would never. Like, you have some people who, when they're gonna talk about this book, they'll be like, "Oh, well, this happens and this happens. I think you would like it." I would never go like, yeah, Trazen has like just 5 armies at one point or whatever.
Mhm.
Like that's such a good surprise
My
in that.
curious, what can I do with it brain goes to like, what else could he keep in a ball on his hip? And I'm like,
It
what
seems
if
like
he,
anything that will fit.
what if he threw a little pebble at you and then it was a T-Rex?
Yeah.
Or like,
No, he did that. That was the Farseer.
yeah, but I'm just like, it's infinite possibilities here.
Some of the shit that they've said he has in his vault is like
Insane.
Scar
it's
brand
insane.
just pops out of one.
Um,
Crazy.
T-
Doesn't he have a perfect copy of Fulgrim?
Yes.
so it's
That would be bad in battle if it got thrown at you.
Ooh,
Sorry,
conspiracy
thinking of-
theory time.
Oh yeah. Conspiracy
The
theory.
next Primarch to be released. Loyalist Fulgrim that Trazen releases.
That would be really cool.
That would be bonkers.
That's
like
gonna be
deadass,
like
that would be so
That
cool.
is literally a 20 Seconds to Mars music video. 30 Seconds to Mars?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Jared Leto's band.
30 cults to Mars.
I wanted to thinking about the Eldari again made me remember something that going back to Carrie's question of like, was there something that particularly like disturbed you? I did not appreciate whenever Trazen or Orican slowed down their own perceived time and like died, because then you got like the slow detail of what was going on. It's like, oh, that I would hate that a lot.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Paige, was there anything that you wanted to like ask about or like focus on?
I think what I think. So we have Orkin and Trazen, of course, our main
fun
characters.
little guys.
I feel like there was a third main character in the story, and it's the planet Serenade.
I agree.
And I thought that was so interesting that the book is not just, Orkin and Trazen's excellent adventures. It's also the history of a planet that mattered and then no longer does. And
it's so interesting. You see its
Yeah.
entire life.
That's why it's on the cover.
Yeah.
they're
You see
staring
like
at
every
it.
single phase of it. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And it didn't occur to me until later. I looked at the cover and I was like, oh shit, there it is.
Yeah.
And I
and it's got a song.
I really loved that. I really loved that we could watch the rise and fall of this planet and all the history and some cool cultural aspects. And I thought that was so fucking cool. Yeah.
No, I agree. It's just so brilliantly written.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was like a good framing device
Yeah.
for the overall story and like as a metaphor for like a civilization or a world, more metaphorically. And it felt a little like a Star Trek episode, because Star Trek will often do that where like something is happening around them, but then there's like the actual story that you focus on between the two characters.
Yeah.
But like there is something more to be said about like what's actually happening to the whole ship, but you would have to kind of like look for it. Which is very English teacher, but like in a very enjoyable way.
Yeah.
Oh man, like everything about this book is just so good. Oh my goodness. Would you recommend this book to other people, Paige?
Absolutely. 100%. There's very few people I wouldn't recommend. I maybe not like someone who thinks this is going to be like a court of thorns and roses or anything, but
Right.
but good old Akatar. But I feel like almost anyone could enjoy this book. I feel like it really eases you into some of the 40k elements. Like I know very, very basic stuff about mostly Necrons, but I was able to enjoy a lot of it without knowing every aspect. Yeah, no, I would recommend this to anyone. It like I know I keep saying, oh, it's beautiful, but it's a gorgeous read. Just my brain was just lighting up and sparking with how gorgeous the words were placed real good is what I'm trying to say.
It's true.
It
You
was
were
so
real
true.
good, Mr. Wrath.
Yeah, real good. Thank you, Robbie.
eloquent, masterfully
Yeah.
performed.
Alex, would you recommend this book to other people?
Yeah, I think I definitely would. It's it was it was very 40k, and it
That's fair.
I feel for me it was a little over like there were definitely the moments of the buddy cop and just silly shenanigans. I feel like the internet is a little over the top on their representation of how hard it goes on that, but it still is definitely there. So
Yes.
with that, I would I'd still definitely recommend it.
Carrie, would you recommend this book to other people?
I would. I feel like I would split people between two categories when asking if they would be interested in 40k, and that is, are you interested in like the war combat and gun blade
He shot the gun so good.
big saw go burr, or are you interested in like the character dynamics? And that is going to give me the yes or no answer, I feel, to whether or not this book is going to kind of pique your fancy. I would especially recommend this book to people who like Doctor Who.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of similar themes, especially with Time Lords aren't immortal, but they live for like thousands and thousands and thousands. So like, compared to every other mortal being, they're basically immortal. But it's also like these themes of loneliness or needing something to do, or like the pondering on death when you may never die. These themes that are kind of very, very non-human problems for a humanish mind to have to deal with. So it becomes very interesting to get to kind of like take a peek into that.
No, I totally agree. I have recommended everyone this book. I will hoot and holler, and I will scream to the heavens how much I love this book.
War of the Heavens. I know
Back-
Warhammer. Get it.
Back when I worked in a school, I had a lot of great conversations with the librarian who worked there. And we would talk about like book recommendations. And I recommended her this book because I was like, I gave like a very brief, like, oh yeah, it's about like two robots who they have this crazy adventure fighting over this little object. And she seemed to really be interested in that. So I was like, oh yeah, it's called The Infinite Divine. Yeah, like give it a shot. I don't know if she ever did, but like I just think even if it's a 40k novel, which is not to say that that's a negative, but a lot of people will look at the Horus Heresy chart and be like, woo, that's a lot.
Yeah.
It is just a good book to read. Even if you're not a fan of 40k, I think it's still very, very enjoyable through and through.
If I had a friend who was about to go on a long flight,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, grab a book off my shelf and give it to them, this would be up there.
Do you
depending on who
like
they were.
robots? Do you like angsty romance? Do you like the yearning? How slow do you want the burn? Over 10,000 years? Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also
Oh,
Chuckle
man.
Fest.
Mm-hmm. I have some book recommendations here
Mm.
for those who might want to continue down this author's I don't know what it's called. I guess like their
Publications.
their publications. So Robert Rath,
Their
Wh-
IMD book.
yeah. There are two short stories, both featuring Trazen. The first one is War in the Museum, which, Paige, I believe I did send that
yes.
to you. It is basically an extra chapter of the book. It's great. I highly recommend it. There is also the short story, The Bleeding Stars, which the best way I can describe it is Trazen just kind of is bored one day and is like, what if I try to do some good in the galaxy?
Oh, no.
If you are looking for something a bit more...
Does it go hanky wonky dory?
Well, you'll have to find out.
He's just a Time Lord. That's what it feels like.
If you are looking for something a bit more somber, maybe a bit takes a look at the Necrons from more of a sympathetic and very sad angle, I recommend the works from Nate Crowley. I am once again recommending The Twice Dead King. Start with Ruin. That's the first book. He has also written a short story called Severed, which is about a character named Nemesor Zandrek.
I remember that.
And his bodyguard Oberon, and it's got hella
Those guys
gay
have minis.
undertones.
They have models.
It is aggressive
mini
how
models.
gay the undertones are.
Ooh.
Wait,
And if
they're
you're looking for
warriors?
something,
Wait,
sorry,
I need details.
it is a Necron Lord and his bodyguard.
Okay. So
And
it's
the
like
Lord
Link and
is-
Zelda
The bodyguard.
vibes. Oh,
The-
I love it.
I love the bodyguard.
The Lord is kind of crazy. He no matter who they're fighting, he is sort of the impression that they're still in the flesh times.
Oh.
And so whenever
no.
they're fighting,
The
even like
yearnings of the
orcs or
flesh.
something, he's like, "Oh, those disgusting Necron tier rebels, blah blah blah," and his bodyguard is completely sane. And a lot
No.
of the short story is from his perspective, where he's just looking at his lord and just going like, I don't know how to feel about this. And there's a lot of really interesting moments in that short story. Can't recommend it enough. That's Severed by
Cool.
Nate Crowley. And if you're looking for something a bit more different, there is from Joe Perino, the novella Devourer, starring the Necron Anrakir the Traveler. He's the blue Necron who wants them all to get
Ooh.
along.
Aw.
And that also features some other Necron characters who are pretty cool. They're fighting Tyranids,
What-
and it's great.
What's that one called?
Devourer. It's great. I cannot recommend them all enough. Necron books, gotta say, all in all, bangers.
Yeah.
They don't really have any, like, just outright bad books. You know what I mean? Like, they're all enjoyable in their own ways.
Right. Yeah. Well, so how long ago did the transition from
Mindless automatons
yeah
to the new stuff.
like individualized characters to the point where we have like Trazins and Oricans?
How,
How
5th edition?
How recent is
I
that?
would say that's like 10, 15 years, something like that.
2008.
I was going to say ballpark 2010-ish, yeah.
2008 was when we first heard about Trazin and Orican and
Okay.
Enrakir, and all the Necron characters that everyone loves came from 5th edition.
Small addendum, those two, Nemesor, Zandrek, and Vargard Oberon, no longer have models. They did.
Oh.
Yeah,
it's a
they
whole-
used to be kind of old.
They keep doing this. They cancel their own model. It's very confusing.
I bet within a year or two, all of these models that are gone will eventually come back, and they'll make a big deal of it because the old models were made of fine cast, which was like this really not very well made resin, and
They wanted to
They
make Forge
seem-
World more accessible, and
yeah,
they made everyone hate it.
they are slowly but surely creating plastic versions of all of these characters. We just might have to be kind of patient. Like Trazin doesn't have a plastic model yet.
That's what I do
No.
in the gym. He's doing those things.
Orican does, though. He looks great.
Oh, he's dabbing.
Awesome. He is dabbing.
So that's Zandrek.
Zandrick?
Yeah.
He's got his
Nemesor
video
Zandrek.
cards. He's like,
also like canonically one of the
you want
best.
to buy a sundial? Remember that guy?
He is canonically like one of the best tacticians in the galaxy. Like he has
Cool.
killed so many Space Marine chapters. Like not like, oh, they got kind of hurt, but then they were able to come back. Like, no, gone.
Whoa.
Yeah, like he's crazy. Here I have Oricon's new model here. He looks great.
Oh my
Very cute.
god.
Look
Look
at
at
him.
him.
Amazing.
Ah,
I loved all of the descriptions of Oricon, how he moved and how he looked like a snake. Like that's so
Yeah.
cool.
Scorpion.
Yeah.
A scorpion and a snake. Yeah, because sometimes it would be
he's
like
got the cobra hood they refer to.
yeah, the Cobra hood. Anything else that
Look at
people
him.
want to mention?
Nothing I can think of.
It's a
What
real
was I
good
gonna
book.
say? I feel like
You
I
should
had
read
it.
it.
book.
Good book.
Good book.
Good
Like
book.
it. Oh.
Oh, I wrote down
Mhm.
that it reminds me a lot of the dynamic between the characters in Good Omens.
Oh, really?
Just
Who is
where
who?
I don't really know. Like it reminds me of the dynamic, but not necessarily like the individual characters, but in the sense of they're like opposites and they're not
That's
really
why
on
they
the
work so
same
well together.
path, but they kind of have the same objective, but also they're sassy with each other, but also they kind of like each other. Like it was very that kind of feeling. Like it felt like they were like they respected each other in most aspects of life, but they were divorced. Is what I kind of got.
Trazen and Oricon, the most divorced couple in 40K.
So divorced.
Yeah. But like maybe who knows?
Who knows? Maybe
I
we
guess
can
Oricon
rekindle the
should know.
relationship. Oh my goodness.
What do you do if you see the future and you just like see yourself breaking up with your partner? Do you just break up with them or do you wait it like
Oh my god.
I mean, I guess
That's
it's destined to
horrifying.
happen.
Oh,
I just
no.
glanced at my notes about like what I liked about the book, and I forgot to mention I love so much that Trazen uses his necrodermis to smile, and
Yeah.
Oricon
Yeah.
gets so pissed off when he sees
Yeah,
it.
yeah. What do you have to
He's like,
smile about
ugh,
on purpose?
you're not even supposed to smile.
Yeah.
We're robots.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So funny.
Oh.
It's so good.
I also wrote down, do you remember that episode of Dexter's Laboratory when Dexter and Mandrake had to work together?
Vaguely.
I can't say I do.
There was like they were just like the two super geniuses who were like really absurdly pompous about themselves, being like, I am the super one. No, I am the super one. And like just
Right.
they were both smart and like together they were able to solve the problem, but like they would have done it faster if they had stopped arguing.
Yeah.
And
Yes. You did remind me though. One thing that I absolutely adore about their dynamic is the fact that Oricon is just the best time wizard ever.
yeah,
Just full stop.
he's the mage in the party.
But Trazen has collected so much bullshit that he can just keep up because he just has all the items that allowed him to do basically the same thing.
I mean,
He's the rogue.
or just the people that know him when he goes and steals that cloak, and it's not a generalized warning. It's Trazen, I know you're here to fuck with my shit. I know it's you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's 40 million years later, and I know it's you, you fucker. Don't fucking do it. Does it anyways.
He's so good.
That reminded me of one moment I did actually really
yeah.
love.
For
when they, I can't exactly remember which section of the book it's in, but when they end up actually just like brawling on the floor, just throwing
they're just
punches at each
punching.
other.
Yeah.
And the whole descriptor of it just being like, man, these are two fucking like a weak ass nerd and a crippled old man. And if it was or if they were in their flesh times, this would just be sad. But given that they have necrodermis, they're throwing earth-shattering punches into the ground.
Just
It's still sad, but it's powerful.
yeah. Oh, slap fight.
Yeah.
I got the image of that edit from Lord of the Rings that makes the fight between Gandalf and Saruman just keep going on and on and on. So it's just
Oh, he
two
keeps
old
opening the
guys
door.
just like beating the crap out of each other, and you're just kind of like, stop! Stop!
Oh man. Yeah, absolutely phenomenal book. If for whatever reason you're listening to this and you haven't read the book, cannot recommend it enough.
Now you regret it.
Hopefully you regret it. Hopefully
What does
this will cause
JoJo
you
say? He's like, now you're gonna say, I regret not having read the book before watching the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to do a bit.
You're so awesome, Carrie. I love you.
Oh. But yeah, hopefully, dear listener, you enjoyed our little talk about the infinite and the divine. Paige.
Yes.
Where can our faithful audience go and check you out?
Oh, goodness. Well, if you want to watch a sad old woman embarrass herself in front of, then please feel free to come watch me on Twitch at Peach Saliva. It's not what you think. And I'm also on Twitter and Blue Sky at Peach Saliva. And I play video games right now. I'm playing Fallout New Vegas for the very first time, and
How are you liking it?
I fucking love it.
Yes.
Eventually, I am going to do a Jork report on why I believe that the Ghoul and Lucy in Fallout the show are totally gonna bang in season 2.
Yeah.
And it's going to be spectacular, and I will be right
Preach,
there in the
queen.
splash zone. It's gonna be
What a girl wants.
I'm gonna prove it.
What
I'm
a
gonna
girl
prove it.
needs.
I'm gonna prove it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Oh, I love
The
it.
splash zone.
The splash zone. So yes, please come check that out if that's your thing.
Hey guys, I'm Peach Saliva. Not what you think. Anyways, here's the sex report.
Anyway, here's exactly what you think.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh,
Good.
that is so good. Alex, where can people find you?
Usually in my office, sitting in front of a computer.
Fair.
That's as far as I'll go.
That's fair.
I don't have a presence.
You have to find me to find. You need to do a fetch quest.
Ooh.
You
Yeah.
need to find Carrie to find Alex.
Yeah, I have to tell you because the location.
But only after you answer these riddles 3.
Yeah.
What is your
Oh my
quest? What is your favorite color?
Oh no.
What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
Wow.
Why are you
Thanks
asking
everybody
me
for
these
coming by.
questions?
Thank you so much, Paige, for agreeing to do this. Hopefully we can do it again sometime. This was so
Oh my God.
This
fun.
was so fun.
Absolutely. Please. I had so much fun. Thank you so much for having me. What a blast.
Thank you for coming by.
Yeah, of
Aw.
course.
Yeah, okay,
Well,
well,
thank you, Alex, for coming.
thank you, Alex.
I
Thank you,
was always
Carrie.
He was always watching.
Well, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you. That was such a fun book club we just recorded just
Yeah, it's definitely not like a week later.
now. Woo! How much fun we just had now.
Yeah.
It's great. I love having fun.
I'm so happy Paige decided to come on by. I hope we can have her on again. She is great.
That
We
was
love
so
her.
fun.
Yeah. But now it is time to pick
Oh.
our next book. This is voted on by patrons. If you want to vote for the next book, you can do that over at patreon.com/numbskulls, where you can get access to the Discord, where we hold these kind of things and all the sorts of stuff. So we've got a wide selection here, and let's just give it a spin. What's going to be the next book club? Let's spin the wheel.
Oh, it's so exciting. Oh, I'm a little nervous. What's it gonna be?
It's
Flesh and Steel.
Flesh and Steel.
Wait, which one is that?
Flesh and Steel, a Warhammer crime novel. Murder in the neutral zone between Imperial and Adeptus Mechanicus territory sets probator Simeon Noctis on a dangerous investigation. Ooh. Noir detective work?
Ooh.
Okay, very exciting. Well, so this is going to be our book club next time. So make sure you read this, have it ready for our next book club, and we'll see you then. Super exciting.
Ooh. Yay!
Thanks for coming on by, everybody. Have a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Stay safe and keep reading.
It's true. Don't stop.
Expand your brain.